Okay, Chapter 7 review. Test is tomorrow. You have a word bank up here. Let's see how we did. And I think a lot of you were skipping this. You don't like, you just wanted to go to problems that you like to do or that are easy for you to do, which I'm suggesting you study more what you have less, you're less likely to be good at, because you need to practice on that. Choose the word or phrase that best completes each statement. A blank of a triangle has endpoints that are midpoints of the two sides of the triangle. If it's connecting the midpoints, what is that? All right, Bryce? A mid-segment. Okay. That's a mid-segment. Kind of helps you out with the words. Midpoints of sides, mid-segment. A blank is a comparison of two quantities by division. Carolyn? That is a ratio. Yes. It's just something over something. Example, 2/5. Okay, if two angles are congruent in two triangles, why are... Oh, this is a typo here, guys. This should not say congruent. What should it say? Similar, not congruent. That's a definite typo. That's a mistake. Triangle ABC is similar to triangle XYZ by the, if you got two angles, it's the angle similarity theorem, but you can write AA with the similarity symbol after it. Number 4, choose the word again, same thing. A blank is an example of a similarity transformation. You might not have known this. I may have mentioned it, but I didn't really stress it. When we did our transformations, remember we did reflection, we did translation, which was a slide, and we did rotation, and we did dilation. Which one would make a similar figure, not a congruent figure? A dilation. It blows it up. Okay, so that's what this was. A dilation is a similarity transformation. Okay, and 5, if A over B equals C over D, then A and D are called they're on the outside, those are the extremes. B and C would be the means. You did? And 6, the ratio of the lengths of two corresponding sides of two similar polygons is called the scale factor. That's when you compare the lengths of two corresponding sides. We need to study vocab. That's one of the weakest things in this class. Not just this class, but in geometry itself. Okay, we got a little more word bank stuff. Blank is an equation stating that two ratios are equivalent. Remember a ratio? Ratio is a fraction. A over B equals C over D. What's that? That's a proportion. We're supposed to know what it means when we write a proportion. We're comparing two ratios with an equal sign. And a dilation of a scale factor of 2/5. Dilation, if it's 2/5, is that bigger or smaller than 1? 2/5 is 0.4 is a decimal. It's smaller than 1. So a scale factor of 2/5 would cause a reduction. I guess I wasn't putting that. It will result in a reduction. That's equal to 0.4. Okay, less than 1. All right, then this is what I saw most of you going after. You were quickly doing these because you like these, because you know how to do them. So you were doing 10 times x plus 8. Now, you don't have to write this step, but you need to remember to distribute. So I'm hoping you had 10x plus 80 equals 12x minus 18. Now, we're going to need to subtract 10x from both sides if you started off like that. And 80 would equal 2 times x minus 18. You would add 18 to both sides and get 98 equals 2 times x. Divide both sides by 2, and you should have come up with 49. Good? All right, cross products on 10. I'm going to go a little bit faster as far as I'm not going to write this step. I'm going to distribute right away. 15x plus 45 is equal to 12 times x. you need to subtract 15x from both sides, and that goes against your grain because you don't like to see the negatives, but you got to do it. 45 comes down, this answer is negative. 12x minus 15x is negative 3 times x. And then we divide by negative 3, and we get negative 15 for your solution. Okay. If you made some mistakes there, you might want to correct that. Of course, you should correct it. All right, 11, multiply across. 11's kind of weird because you get 6x squared, and that equals 600. And then you divide by 6, and you get x squared is 100. And then how do you undo the squaring? We've done it plenty of times with our Pythagorean theorem and distance. Square root. Okay, so x is plus or minus the square root of 100. You need to remember two answers. So it's positive or negative 10. Does the key say that on number 11? I didn't check that, the key on that, on your last page. Does it say plus or minus 10? All right. Pardon? Yeah, 14 times x equals 63. You just got a decimal on number 12. Don't remember what that is. 4.5. Thank you. 13. Now, remember the extended ratio? It said if the perimeter, so it's like having a triangle, and one of the sides is 5x, one's 8x, and one's 10x, and I know that's not to scale. The perimeter is the distance around the outside, so those would add up to the perimeter of 276. You would add and get 23x equals 276. You would divide both sides by 23. Oops. And you get x is something, 12. And then it says, tell me the longest side. So the longest side's going to be, what one would you plug into? The 10 times x. So 10 times 12 would be 120. And since it said the perimeter was in inches, that should be in inches. Okay. The common error on a question like that is to just do x is 12 and then forget to tell the length of the longest side. And if it were multiple choice, 12 would be one of the answers, and the other one would be 120. And then two other distractors. All right, determine whether each pair of figures is similar. In order to tell if a pair of figures is similar, you must check if the sides are in the same ratio. So we need to check and see if 4 over 10 equals 6 over 16, which you would just keep getting more of those if you kept going around. So all we really need to know is, are these sides in the same ratio, because these are equal to them. So when you reduce this, that's 2/5. If you reduce the right side, you get 3/8. Those aren't equal. So that means these are not similar because sides are not proportional. Sides are not proportional or not in the same ratio. I forgot what the key said, but it's one of those. They're not proportional or they're not in the same ratio. Means the same thing. Okay, 15, we still got to do the same thing. We got to check if 9 is to 6 equals 15 over 10. Reduce those fractions. If you reduce, you divide by 3 top and bottom on the first fraction, you would get 3/2. Dividing by 5 on the second top and bottom would be 3/2. So yes, these are similar. The similarity statement would be PQRS is similar to WXYZ, and that would be because sides are proportional. Or the ratio of the sides is the same. Same ratio. 16. Says the two triangles are below are similar. Find the value of x and show your proportion. Without showing work, you will not get any credit for the review. Just answers will not give you any points at all. Okay, so make sure you're showing. 12 is to 16. I don't care if yours is exactly the same ratio as mine, because there's more than four ways to correctly write every proportion. But you have to have 2x across from the 16 and 12 across from the x plus 6 in your ratio. If I multiply across, I get 32x equals 12x plus 72. So next I do my algebra, I subtract 12x. I get 20x equals 72, right? Yeah. Divide both sides by 20. We're going to get a decimal. So it's going to be x is 3.6. Is it 6 repeating? No, just 3.6. Okay. Okay, next problem. We got on a word problem, which I know you probably skipped those too. Anyway, if you did specific. On a map of Colorado, the cities of Denver and Colorado Springs are 1.5 inches apart. If the scale on the map shows 1.5 inches represents 10 miles, let's write a proportion. So 1.5 inches is to 10 miles as, now, they measured on the map, got 10.5 inches. That would have to go on top. And you're going to find out x miles, how many miles apart they actually are. So we multiply across, we get 1.5 times x equals 105. 10 times 10.5 would be 105. Divide 105 by 1.5. So on your calc, just hit 105 divided by 1.5. Or actually, you can do it all at once. You can type 10 times 10.5 divide by 1.5. I don't remember how big that was. How many? 70? Thank you. 70 miles. Determine if they're similar or not. If they are, write a similarity statement and explain your reasoning. 4 is to x, so I'm going to compare these sides. 4 is to 6 as, I think I said x. 5 is to 7.5. And then I got to go 6 to 9. Now, easy to reduce the 4/6 to 2/3. And it's easy to reduce the 6/9 down to 2/3. And then you got to say, well, what's happening with that 5 and 7.5? So you go to your calc and you hit 5 divided by 7.5. And you use your math, enter button. Math, enter. Gives you back to a fraction, and guess what? It's 2/3. So, yes, they are similar. Triangle IJK is similar to triangle HFG. Why? By what? Well, what did we prove? What's this? Side, similar. Okay? We proved all 3 sides are in the same proportion. Okay, 19. Whoa, that's 42. I need to figure out either that angle. I got to see if these angles are the same. So 180 minus 90 is 90. And then if I take away 42, that's going to be 48, isn't it? And if you did the same thing down here, this is only going to be 32. So they're not similar. And the reason is corresponding angles are not congruent. Angles are not congruent. The angles should be congruent and the sides should be proportional. And they will be if the angles are congruent. Okay. 20, determine whether triangles are similar. If so, write a similarity statement and explain your reasoning. Well, on this one, you've got parallel lines, and that tells me I have corresponding angles, alternate interior angles are congruent. So I know for sure these are similar. Yes. Triangle, say I said UVT. It would be similar to triangle, I started at U, that'd be SRT. And that would have been by angle, angle, similar. Okay, 21. I would just do this as you see it, meaning I see 4 over 5 and x plus 2 over 12. And then just do my cross product property. 5x plus 10 is equal to 48. Subtract 10 from both sides. 5x equals 38. And then I got to divide by 5. 7.6. Then same thing with the next one. You can do 8 is to 18 as 10 is to x minus 4. So got to do your cross product property. 8x minus 32 equals 180. Add 32. 8 times x is 212. Divide by 8. I don't know what that is. 26.5. Thank you. I shouldn't connect my x like that. Oh. Write it too fast. 23. Uh-oh. I say uh-oh just because I can't do it yet because there's nothing here. So I'm going to fill it in. 8 is to x plus 3 as 5 is to 4. And I got 5 by doing 13 minus 8. So I do my cross products. 5x plus 15 equals 32. Subtract 15. 5x equals, what is that? 17. And I got to divide by 5, so that's going to be 3.4. Yeah. Okay. Did I go too fast? Does that mean you need me to go back to anything, or I need to do quite a few more, 11 more, before at least I get to where I started the recording for the rest. All right, now you got to have a proportion to find x. Oh, this one's just parallel lines cut by 2 or more transversals, cut off proportional parts. 240 is to 200 as 300 is to x. So 200, oopsie, 240x equals 60,000. I got to divide by 240. How much is it? 250 even? Alrighty, 250 feet. $25. Oh, we have to have something to go here. Name the special segment. Well, what is this thing? Okay, so that's an angle bisector. And the proportion would be 8 is to x as 10 is to what? I need some help with that. Which one's bigger, x or the 13.5? Well, you can tell. Don't throw your hands up in the air. Isn't this a lot longer than that? So x is going to be smaller. So if you want to fill this in, I don't know which one of these is necessarily bigger. It looks like it's going to be this one, but we don't want to assume it. But we're going to have to do 13.5 minus the littler one, x. That's what we have to do. We have to fill in that as 13.5 minus x. So now we can do 8 is to x is 10 is to 13.5 minus x. This would be one of your trickier ones. 8 times 13.5x would be 108. 108 minus 8x equals 10x. Okay. Then I add 8x. I get 108 is 18x. And I divide by 118. By 18. 108 divided by 18 gives me 6 even. Okay. So that was 6, and this was actually 7.5. If you wanted to know. 26. Oh, that one's all ready to go. But what is this thing? Angle bisector. Okay, so you're going to have to name it, and then set up a proportion, and then correctly solve it. So let's go 2x minus 1 times 3 gives me 6x minus 3. 4 times x plus 4 is 4x plus 16. Subtract 4x from both sides. 2 times x minus 3 is 16. Add 3. 2 times x is 19. Divide by 2 and we get x is 9.5. Yes? Yeah, 9.5. Okay, 27. What are these things in red? Or whatever, on your paper it can't be red because it's not color, but this is an altitude. These are altitudes. And altitudes in two similar triangles are both proportional to the other sides. So 18 over 25, the comparison of the altitudes equals the comparison of the corresponding sides, 21 to x. Cross products, 21x is how much? 525? And then I got to divide by 18. Ooh. It's 525 divided by 18. So I guess if we wanted to round that, 29.2 approximately. Okay. And 28, what are these segments? Now, they look like they might be angle bisectors, but does that show that they're angle bisectors? No, they're medians because they cut the side in half. Those are medians. All right, so the proportion of the medians are in the same ratio as the side lengths. So 26 is to x is 30 is to 40. What's 40 times 26? 1040, and then divide by 30. 30 what? Okay. I'll go with that. I think in the key it says 34.7 because it rounded to the nearest tenth. 29 on a scale on a map, the state of Missouri indicates that 3 inches is 50 miles. I'm going to write that scale down. 3 inches is worth 50 miles. The cities of St. Louis, Springfield, and Kansas form a triangle. Okay, so if I got St. Louis, Springfield, Kansas City, not that that matters that I label this, the measurements of the lengths of the triangle on the map are 15, 10, and 13. It doesn't matter which ones I put where. Okay, now we want to know the perimeter of the triangle formed by these cities to the nearest mile. So we got to do 3 calculations. We got to convert each one of those numbers to actual miles. Where would that go in the problem? Where would the measurement go? If that's in inches. Should know. Yep, on top. All right, we want to find how many miles that is. So we do 50 times, here, you can type this quickly. 50 times 15 divided by 3. That's what happens every time. Cross, multiply, and divide. Because 3x was equal to 750, and you should have got 250. Okay? Now, that's the length of one of the sides. Then you're going to change the 15 to 10 and then to 13. So you're just doing the same thing, except I'm putting in 13 one time, and I'm doing 10 the other time. So we're going to have 3x equals 500. We're going to get a decimal on that one. 216.6 repeating. I'm trying to remember from earlier today. Is that what that one is? Or did you already do this one? 3x equals 13 times 50, 500, 650. That's the one when you divide, you get the, this is 166.6 repeating, and this one's 216.6 repeating. All right, let's add those up. So here's what we really need to do. We need to take our 250 plus our 166 point, oh, I wrote the number too big, 166.6. You can write it like that if you want. Plus, we got the other one was 216.6666, whatever. Hit enter, and your distance is 633 because it said to round to the nearest mile. So 633 miles. Okay, all I did was take 250 plus 216.6 plus 166.6. Okay? So all you really needed is one setup and realize that you're going to trade out 15, then you're going to do 10, and then you're going to do 13. Get those answers and add them up. Do we need to talk more about this one? No? Okay. Jamie wants to use a photocopier to enlarge her design for the honors program at her school. She sets the copier to 250%. What is 250% as a number? No, careful, just move 2 places. So it'd be 2.5. All right, so if the original drawing was 6 by 9, we just want to take each of those and multiply it by 2.5. And you get the new dimensions. 6 times 2.5 will be 15. So that'd be 15 inches by 9 times 2.5, 18 plus 22 and a half. Okay, multiply by the percentage as a number. And the way to get the percent from a percent to a decimal is to divide by 100. All right, 31, you've got a scale, another scale one. 6 inches is worth 100 feet. That is a ratio. Then we're going to set up a proportion to solve it. And we're going to put, if the distance from one end of the main hallway to the other is 175 feet, find the corresponding length on the scale drawing. We need to put the 175 on the bottom because it's the actual, and we want the model in inches. So 100x equals whatever 6 times 175 is. 1050, thank you. And then divide by 100. So that's going to be 10.5 inches. Okay, got to get up to 34. I got 2 more to do. We got scale is 1 to 48. It says the actual car length is 72. Remember, it was always model to actual. So the 72 feet goes on the bottom. Okay, 48x equals 72. We need to divide by 48. So whatever 72 divided by 48 is, 1.5, and that would be feet. It's actually in feet because it was just, they didn't give any labels. Besides, it said find the length in feet. And the last one that I need to do for recording, because the rest of it is going to be posted, 3 inches is 25 miles. I'll post both parts, but I already did the recording of the other. So 11.5 inches goes on top, X miles on the bottom. Okay, what's 25 times 11 point, was it 11.5? Okay, and then we got to divide that by 3. Um, 95.83 repeating. And that would be in miles. Okay, still got plenty of time to pack up, guys, so listen up. Study, go to the website, to your Google Classroom. If you haven't signed in yet, this is the fastest way for you to go see the rest of the review. Use that code. Otherwise, it's on Heimer Time on YouTube.